Hey you guys, welcome back to See Mindy Mom, and if you are new here, welcome. Today I am sharing with you just a regular old what's for dinner video, so stay tuned. All right, you guys, there really is no theme or rhyme or reason necessarily for this video. I don't have a set budget or a limited number of ingredients that I'm working with. I'm just wanting to show you some things that I made my family for dinner the past couple of weeks. I guess you could say this is sort of like a pantry challenge because I am just trying to use what we have on hand and make sure that I'm using up some vegetables and some other things we have in the refrigerator before we leave town for a few days. But I would definitely say that I had more on hand that I would typically have when I challenge myself to do like a pantry cooking video. But still, I just thought it would be fun to show you some of the meals that I threw together for my family, and some of them really were thrown together kind of fly by the seat of your pants type meals. If there are any recipes that I can link to, I will leave them in the description box below, so let's jump into it. For dinner tonight, I needed something very easy that would be ready whenever I walk back in the door. I'm going to be out at ball practice with my son and we'll be getting home right at dinner time. So I am making a recipe that I have made several times. I think maybe I've even made it on this channel, but it's been months. So if you are new within the last 6 to 8 months, you probably haven't seen this. And if you are not new and you remember this, maybe this will just jog your memory. But it's like a creamy ranch chicken spaghetti type dish that I make in the Crockpot. I will leave the recipe linked in the description box below that I found on Pinterest years ago. But how I am making it is, in my Crockpot right now, I have a few frozen chicken breasts. I have about a tablespoon of minced garlic, and then I have 2 tablespoons of my homemade ranch seasoning. You could just use a packet of store-bought ranch seasoning if you want. I make mine from scratch. I'll leave a video linked below in the description box telling you how I do that. And then I added a block of a 1/3 less fat cream cheese. The recipe calls for chicken broth, but I don't buy chicken broth anymore. I just use water and add some of this broth base. And so I have about a tablespoon of this with about 5 cups of water. And I will cook that on high for about 3 to 3.5 hours. The chicken will be done. We'll take it out and shred it up, put it back in, stir the cream cheese, and then I will add my pasta to the Crockpot. Yes, you can cook pasta in the Crockpot. You can cook pasta recipes in the Crockpot. I do it all the time. You just want to add the pasta at the end, like 30 to 40 minutes, and make sure that there's enough liquid that your pasta can actually cook. So I will use probably 10 to 12 ounces of whole wheat spaghetti because that's what I have in my pantry that I want to use up. This recipe is so easy that my daughter is actually probably going to finish this up for me while I am at ball practice with my son. So she'll be here with her dad and her sister, and she can just take that chicken out and shred it up and put it back in, and then add the spaghetti at the same time and let that cook for another 30 to 40 minutes until it's done, and then we'll be ready to eat it. So I'll show you what it looks like when we get home. All right, here is dinner. The ranch chicken spaghetti turned out wonderful. I've got some shredded mozzarella cheese on top of that, and then just some green beans on the side. I sprinkled a little bit of breadcrumbs and Parmesan on these, and that's going to be dinner tonight. So easy. Hey, you guys, it is Friday, and I am tired. I'm very tired. I was up at 4:30 this morning to drive McKenna to a gymnastics meet, and we've just had like a really, really busy week. But we actually have a busy weekend ahead of us. We have a baseball tournament, and I know that either Saturday or Sunday night, I am probably going to want to like pick up a pizza or some tacos or takeout or something. So I really want to have dinner at home tonight, find something easy that we can make. And I have some of this sweet Italian ground pork sausage from my Imperfect box. This was my first time to order meats from them, and so far I have been very pleased. If you have never tried Imperfect before, I will leave a link in the description box, my referral code. I believe it gives you $10 off your first order. But I have this sweet Italian sausage, and there's no sugar added. So I think what I'm gonna do is make some potato soup because I have some potatoes in the pantry that I'd like to use up. And one of the great things about using sausage in recipes is that it's already seasoned, so it's not going to take very much for me to throw this together. So I'm just going to brown this up. I'm going to toss it into my crock pot, probably with a little bit of diced onion and minced garlic. So glad I bought the jar of already minced garlic. I'll add some chicken broth, which I make from just water and like chicken broth base, like a powder chicken broth base or bouillon cubes. Probably add about 3 cups of that. Chop up, I don't know, 4 or 5 potatoes, throw them in there. I'll cook that on high for probably about 3 hours, and then I'll finish it off with some half and half that I have in the refrigerator. I don't know, maybe I'll have some veggies with it, maybe I won't. We'll just see, but I'll show it to you when it's done. I also have a Parmesan rind that I'm going to throw in there. This is the end of like a block or a triangle of Parmesan, and these do a lot for flavoring things that cook slowly like soups. So I've been meaning to use this, so I'm going to toss that in there too. It's going to add some flavor. Boop. Tonight, we are just using up some stuff that I have had in the freezer. Back there in the crock pot is some chopped brisket that I put in the freezer last month. My husband brought it home from a church function. It was like a meeting or something where they fed people and they had leftovers and we couldn't use them at the time, so I just froze them. So I've got that in the crock pot. I had 3 potatoes in the pantry. I threw those into the oven. Boop. And then I also had some rolls in the freezer, so whoever doesn't have potatoes can have like a brisket sandwich, I'm thinking. And I even had just like 1/3 of a cup of rice in that little tin behind there. And so I went ahead and made that up because I might have like a brisket rice bowl. It's just kind of like a hodgepodge meal that we're trying to make. It's Sunday night. It's been a very, very busy week and weekend. I've also got some veggies here that I'm chopping up, some carrots and squash. I'll just roast those and I'll show you how that all comes together. So this is my dinner tonight. So I have just some rice on the bottom, and then I have some of the brisket, some cheese, a little bit of Greek yogurt, and I have some roasted veggies there. Brick is having sliders. He's having sandwiches. My husband and McKenna and Ruthie are all having baked potatoes with the brisket and the cheese and everything. So everybody's kind of doing something different,
and the cat is
so that we can use it up. And Ollie thinks she's gonna sit here on the table, but she's not. She's about to go bye-bye off the table. Dinner tonight is nothing fancy. I still had a bunch of the brisket left over that I pulled from the freezer, so I made some sandwiches. I had 2 different kinds of rolls in the freezer, just some like regular dinner rolls and some Hawaiian rolls. So I just made these with a little provolone cheese and some of the brisket. You know, just popped them in the oven, open face for, 3 or 4 minutes, and then put the tops on, and that's that. And then these are just some frozen green beans that I steamed in the microwave with a little Parmesan, salt and pepper, and breadcrumbs mixed in afterwards. Oh, and just a dash of olive oil. And this is just plain old Kraft mac and cheese, you guys. Really, just sometimes there's no need to reinvent the wheel. There's nothing like the classics, but that's dinner tonight. Okay, so here's what is going on with dinner tonight, and I really hope this turns out well because I am just making this up as I go. I have some turkey smoked sausage here, which I will take out of the package and chop up into little pieces. I've already chopped about half of an onion and a red bell pepper. I have a can of Rotel, diced tomatoes with green chilies. I have a small package of hash browns. This is only 16 ounces. They usually come in 32-ounce bags. And since this is just a 1-pound bag of hash browns, a smaller than normal bag, I'm gonna also use a package of corn. This is a 12-ounce package of frozen corn. I have a block of 1/3 less fat cream cheese, and I have some ranch seasoning and some taco seasoning. I am just going to toss all of that into the crock pot. I'll probably use about a tablespoon of ranch and a tablespoon of the taco seasoning. I'm gonna put in about a cup of water or so. I'm gonna let it cook on low for about 3.5 hours. And then I'm going to add this. I will grate it up. This is a 5-ounce block of pepper jack cheese that I got from the Dollar Tree. We'll add that at the very end, stir that in. And I'm hoping this is gonna be like a Southwest style potato hash type situation. That's what I'm hoping for, so we'll see how it turns out. Okay, so here it is, and it did not turn out exactly the way I had planned because I had hoped that it would be more like a casserole, but I guess I added too much water because it's more of like a chowder. It's kind of like a chili consistency, but I've already tried it and it still is really tasty. In fact, I think a few crackers in this would be really good too. I was gonna make some broccoli to go on the side, but it's kind of late. We just came in from the ballpark. It's already close to 8 o'clock, so I'm just gonna eat it like this. Even though this didn't turn out the way I intended, it still worked out fine, and it was great to have something going in the crock pot that was easy for us to go ahead and chow down on whenever we walked into the house. Plus, it used up some things that I had in my refrigerator and my freezer, so I'm happy. Please forgive my windswept look. We have been outside enjoying the nice weather, playing some wall ball and like some backyard baseball with the kiddos. So I just came in to throw some dinner together. And tonight I am going to make these smoked chicken sausages that I got from my Imperfect box. And at first I thought that these were the kind that I would have to cook, but it does say fully cooked smoked chicken sausage. So I think these are, basically like smoked sausage that I would buy in the grocery store. So I'm just gonna dice these up and throw them onto, not dice them up, just slice them up and throw them onto a foil lined cookie sheet along with some asparagus that I have already blanched, and I will drizzle a little olive oil over that, and I will pop it into the oven and roast that for probably 10 or 15 minutes. And then on my stove, I already have a pot of water boiling, and I'm going to make some noodles, and I'm going to attempt to make kind of a version of of Kraft chicken egg noodle. Does anybody remember that? Leave me a comment if you know what I'm talking about. It was next to the macaroni and then the Kraft like green box spaghetti, and it was in a brown box, and it was called chicken egg noodle dinner or something like that. They discontinued it years ago, but it was a favorite in my family, and we always had boxes of it in the pantry, and we would sometimes make it for lunch on the weekends or like during the summertime. So I think I am just going to melt a little butter and then saute some carrots and celery and onion in that butter. And then I will add a little bit of cornstarch and like chicken broth base, and also about a cup of water, and kind of make like a little sauce. I'm gonna cook my noodles first, and then I'll do all that I just said. And then I will add the noodles to my sauce and maybe some salt and pepper, and we'll just see how it turns out. I'm hoping that it tastes a little bit like that chicken egg noodle Kraft box dinner that we had. Here is dinner tonight. Very simple, but it will suffice just fine. I have my asparagus here and my chicken sausage here. I don't have a lot because everybody seemed to really like these. I'm the last one to make my plate, but that's okay. This chicken egg noodle to me tastes exactly like I remember Kraft chicken egg noodle tasting. It's a slightly different texture because it's a full-size egg noodle. And if you are familiar with Kraft chicken egg noodle, it was like little bitty square noodles. So it's just, you know, a little bit different as far as the size of the noodle, but it tastes really great. I am very excited to dive into this, and this is dinner tonight. All right, you guys, that's what I have for you. I hope that it was helpful and gives you some inspiration or some ideas. I will be sure to check in with another video very soon.